Hi, this is Shelley Kraft. We're coming to you live on SNN Live with the BioMaryland booth at Bio International in Chicago 2013. I have with me the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown of the state of Maryland. And he was a speaker today in the booth, and he was talking about something very important to all of our hearts: traumatic brain injury. So I want to welcome you to SNN Live.
Well, Shelley, first of all, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here at the BioMaryland booth, part of the Bio International Conference in Chicago. And it's really exciting. I mean, we have an opportunity to bring together private sector, businesses that are doing important work in the life sciences. We've got academia, folks from in Maryland, Johns Hopkins, University of Maryland, College Park, and we have state, local, and federal officials here. So it's an exciting time to really come together around life sciences, the bio industry, and the great things that are going on.
Now, you in particular spoke on traumatic brain injury. Why is this so near and dear to you? I listened to your passionate, your speech, and the audience was very into it. Tell me why.
Well, first of all, Shelley, there are millions of cases of traumatic brain injury in Maryland that costs our economy literally billions of dollars. But aside from that, when you look at the types of activities that lead to traumatic brain injury, we send men and women into harm's way in Iraq and Afghanistan. 1 in 4 Iraq-Afghanistan war veterans will return with traumatic brain injury. It affects their quality of life. We're sending more and more of our young kids, and they love it, and I love it for them, on the football fields and the other athletic activities, yet the equipment isn't really keeping up with the contact. So we're seeing more and more traumatic brain injury among young people as well. NFL football players are more likely, of course, at higher risk, but that's true at every level of sports. So it's important that we find better ways to identify, to prevent, and where we can't prevent, to treat traumatic brain injury.
So how do you see the state of Maryland working together with, obviously, pro football and leagues like hockey? I mean, wow, and the government. So how do you see that marriage working?
Well, one way is through our various tax credit programs. We have a biotech tax credit. We have a research and development tax credit. We have a program called Invest Maryland, where we invest in Maryland companies. And it's through these companies where they partner with, for example, the NFL Alumni Association, or even with the local athletic leagues, to find ways to improve equipment, to survey the results of that equipment, and then try to make improvements in equipment. So that's one example. So it's not that state government is the main actor, but what we can do is we can support through various financial and tax incentives.
Well, you certainly have the universities here that are doing research on such topics as you're working on. Let me ask you a question, and I ask it to a lot of people I interview in the Maryland booth. Why Maryland?
Look, Maryland, that's a softball, because let me tell you, Maryland has the most educated workforce in the country, bar none. We have the highest percentage of workers with bachelor's degrees and PhDs, more workers with certificates and licenses in a variety of fields. It's an educated and talented workforce. Maryland also has tremendous assets with 50 federal labs and facilities and centers and installations where a lot of exciting research and development is taking place. In fact, Maryland, there's more money for research per capita in Maryland than any other state. So you've got a quality workforce, you've got the resources, we have a lot of private sector companies that are doing exciting work. So if you're interested in the life sciences, you're interested in tech, Maryland is certainly a place that you need to be looking at closely.
I think you're so positioned state-wise in such a good logistical area as well. You can't, you're so close to Washington, D.C.
That
as
helps.
well.
Absolutely. The proximity to the nation's capital is important. A lot of these companies are highly regulated, so they like not only the talented workforce that I mentioned, they like the proximity to the regulators, whether it's FDA or any other body that regulates. So there's a lot going on. Plus, the amenities that are available in Maryland. We've got Mountain Maryland if you like skiing. We've got the Atlantic Coast, if you like, the beach environment. We've got 2 urban centers, Baltimore City, Washington, D.C., for culture and history and heritage. So there are a lot of fun things going on in Maryland.
Don't leave out the seafood, please.
No, got to come to Maryland for Maryland's blue crabs.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown for coming on to SNN Live. He was a featured speaker in the booth at this conference. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNN Live. We are at the Bio Maryland booth at the Bio International Conference in Chicago 2013. Thank you, Lieutenant
Thanks,
Governor,
Shelley.
for coming.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate having you.
Yep.